Good evening. How's everyone doing? All right. Good, good. So tonight's call, this is the third and final official call for the wet weather challenge in hot and dry Mackay at the moment. It's so funny how it's turned out. But never mind. All of the exercises are relevant no matter whether you're working in wet weather or dry weather. It's all about foundations for your partnership. So in tonight's call, I wanted to just run through and check if anybody had any questions after implementing the exercises and, having a bit of a go at it and seeing what's coming up there. And also just seeing like what results or shifts people are getting from implementing so far, and whether there's anything that you want to nut out around that. And also, I was going to touch on the exercise number 3, which has dropped into the Facebook group. That dropped overnight, so you may or may not have seen that one yet. But that's the two-way communication exercise around using touch to help your horse open up and understand that they can communicate with you. It's not just all one way, us communicating with them. So that's a pretty interesting one to go watch if you haven't already. In that video, I'm working with Jazzy, and she's very much opened up to that idea at this point, to the point where now she's wanting to do Liberty with me without me initiating. Whereas before she was quite like shut down, disconnected from people. She wasn't like avoidant running off or anything like that, but would just be sort of set and braced, and would have a hard time physically loosening up even in work. Had to put a lot of pressure on her to get her to loosen up and really breathe. And now she's just like, hey, what are we doing next? And wants scratches all the time. So we're finding a bit of a balance there, but it's really nice to see her come out of her shell. So that's in exercise 3 in the Facebook group. The other thing I wanted to mention is because she's already very open to that, and she's kind of telling me all the time where she would like scratches, you don't get to see the beginning stages of starting to have that conversation where they're going from being shut down to understanding they can start to communicate with you. So hopefully tomorrow or Friday, I'm going to borrow someone else's horse, the place where Jazzy is adjusted, and video that, so you get to see that starting process and the signs that I'm talking about in the video with Jazzy. What to look for with the eyes and the ears and all of that. So that's going to be coming in the next couple of days. So with that being said, do we have any, for anyone who's here live, do you have anything you want to share? Are there any shifts, positive shifts you're seeing, or even negative shifts, things that you want to ask me about and see how we work through those? So I'll leave it open. You can unmute yourself if you have anything. And if you're all good, just hang on here a second. Oops, I've lost my screen. If there's no questions right now, I'm just going to jump into the Facebook group because there was one in there that I wanted to share with you. I'll see if I can bring it up here on my phone. So in the questions thread, so in the Facebook group, there is a questions thread. If anything comes up over the next few days and you want to ask a question in there, or even after the challenge is finished, that will still be open. So this question is around the touch and communication. So Renee says, for quite some time, my horse has just communicated where and how he didn't want to be touched. So I've worked with Renee and her horse, and he was sore in a lot of places over his back. He had some navicular problems, and he was just generally like, I don't want to be touched, like, don't. And he was a little bit, negative about that, understandably. So for quite some time, my horse has just communicated where and how he didn't want to be touched. But as I've listened and I've helped him feel better in his body, he has recently started asking for touch from humans again. He can still be a bit demanding with others, but I feel he and I have a good balance the more I practice with him. Just wondering how I can help him understand the same rules apply to others, that he can't just demand scratches now he knows that he likes them. Yeah, so this can be where the pendulum starts to swing from being too shy or shut down into a little bit overconfident and demanding. And we do have to keep that balance. And it sounds like Renee's keeping that balance herself, but when other people are interacting with them, he's just like, hey, I want scratches and I want scratches now. So here's what I replied to her. The straightforward answer to this is that the other humans also need to have the personal space boundaries. So that he's asking and he's like hinting instead of demanding. And also they need to be careful that they're not rewarding that demand with scratches. So heaps of people will do this. The horse will demand and the human's like, oh, hey, you want scratches. And then you've got that positive reinforcement happening. And of course, they're going to keep doing it. So they have two options. They can either move him away, so send him on if they feel confident to do that. Or if they don't feel confident to do that, they can remove themselves. So I don't see this so much as them yielding or giving way to him, because he's actually asking them to groom with him, or he's actually asking for contact for them, and they're saying, hey, no, this is too much in my space, I'm leaving. So it has a similar effect as sending him away, because he doesn't get that positive reinforcement. And I mentioned too, another avenue to improve this is to sharpen up her own boundaries. So if he's pushing that much on other people, he probably is still pushing a little bit on her. So she could sharpen that up so that he's extra polite with her. Like not just a balance, but like extra polite. Tipping a little bit the other way, where he's a little bit less confident to ask. And that habit then of him being extra polite is going to carry over a little bit to the other people. Now, unfortunately, like in a herd situation, horses, their energy is like relative to every individual horse in that herd. And so the same thing happens with people. He's still going to be responding to people's individual energy, but you can set up habits so that it's a bit more favorable overall. And the other option is be there when other people are around so that you can supervise what's happening. And this is a little bit like, if you remember the video of Vacate the Gate, and where I was putting the feed out and I was making sure that Valero wasn't coming over to steal Jazzy's feed, or he wasn't getting up in her space. And so I was coming in as the dominant person in that scenario and moving him on to show that you don't get to do this while I'm around, at least. So you can do that kind of thing as well when other people are around. You can step in to essentially protect the person and take charge of the herd and move the horse on if he's getting too demanding. So they start to understand, okay, that this behavior is not acceptable when you're around, at least. Any questions on that? Making sense? Cool. There was another question here too around, so the previous video with the doing the task that the horse wants to avoid. So the question was around spraying. Nicole asked, what would the steps be to spray a horse that is unsure and doesn't like it? I have one that will get sprayed when tied up, but not when he is loose. I have one that just doesn't like the spray at all, and two that will get sprayed wherever. So there's a bit of a range there of how confident they are with the sprays. So in answer to that, the steps to spraying, and we talked about this a little bit in the previous call that we did, similar to worming, similar to needling, similar to anything that you were like approaching your horse with, is also similar to that bridling process in call number 2, in exercise number 2, where as you are approaching them, you're watching their body language and to see and notice and pick up at which point they begin to get worried. So we don't wait for them to get really worried and move away. We notice when they start to get a little bit bothered. And so if you're thinking about spraying with a hose, for example, that might be when you pick up the hose from off the lawn and you start to drag it over. You might still be 5 meters away and they're going, So at that point, you would want to pause and just wait for them to settle and relax with you at that distance, and then continue on. With a spray bottle, for example, it might be when you start to give it a test squirt and they see it or they hear it, or there's something that like triggers them a little bit, gives them a fright, or maybe when they feel the sensation. So wherever it is in that process that your horse starts to show signs of concern is where you want to pause and just wait for them to relax. It's best to do this in the beginning with your horse just holding them on the lead. I don't like to do it tied up if they are actually scared of it or they're going to want to move around a lot. I want to hold them so that if they do happen to get a fright or back away or really feel like they need to move their feet around, that you can kind of go with them. You have some control of them. They're not running off loose, but you can influence them and you can help them come back to a relaxed state. So, yeah. So when you're waiting for that relaxation, so you notice they get worried, you pause. When you're waiting for that relaxation, we're not, let's say we've got the hose or the spray bottle in our hand, we're not dropping it and taking it away. If we bring it up to here and they get worried here, we just hold it here and wait. If they get worried and we go, oops, I'll take that away, we can accidentally teach them that getting worried, like that response is what takes the thing away. Sometimes. So yeah, I prefer to pause where we are and just let them settle into it there. And when they've settled a little bit, well, then you can retreat if you want and start over. Or you can just start over from where you are, just depending on how they're going with it. Another point, especially with spraying, particularly with a hose, or a spray bottle, is if they're afraid of the touch of it, I will just do like one little spray or one brief hose across their shoulder or something, and then take it away so that there's an immediate release of pressure and they don't feel like I have to escape it. So it's just like a short exposure and it's gone. So you might just come in, spray, step back, done. Even if they're moving a little bit, like you're controlling the timing of you're coming in and getting out. Like that's your only intention at that point. What I see a lot of people do is they'll start to spray and the horse might go, okay, they're tolerating the first spray, the second spray, or the third spray with your bottle. And the person's like, oh, they're doing good. And they just go, keep going, spray, 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 spray. And then the horse is not able to relax and it's building. They're not getting more comfortable, they're getting more uncomfortable to the point that then they move. And now we have a problem. Now we have a horse that's trying to find the release of pressure through movement instead of finding the release of pressure through standing still, because we have gone beyond their comfort zone. If we'd have just done one or two sprays and stepped back while it was going good, then you start to lock in that idea that I can just stand here with my feet set and the spray comes and it goes and it's fine. So start small and you can build it from there. I'm just going to read the comments here. JJ says, I have more success playing with the spray bottle when the flies are annoying the horses, and when you can build up to having a couple of comfortable sprays and they get relief, yeah, they are more willing to engage. Absolutely. Same with playing with the hose when it's hot, kind of setting it up for success. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it makes it so much easier for them if you're doing it on a day when it gives them some physical relief as well. Yeah, that's great. Great approach. My horse is out at the block now where we've got 6 out there. On a day when I head out there and there's a lot of flies around, they just kind of come and stand around the car and just wait their turn for that spray. So I don't catch them. I don't need to catch them, tie them up or anything. I just have my big pump bottle and just walk around them and spray each one individually. And our longhorn bullock has started doing the same thing. He started coming up for a fly spray too. So yeah, they do figure out the benefits. Just check if there's any more questions. I think that's all that's in the group. If anyone live here has something to add, you can just unmute yourself and go ahead while I'm looking here. I think that's all we have. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, so going forward from today, so the 10-day challenge is going to officially finish on the 31st of January. So we've got a couple more days, 3 more days. During that time, I will drop in the Facebook group the other demonstration video around the two-way communication with touch. So that'll give you another perspective on that. Jump in the Facebook group, post your questions if you have any updates, if you want my feedback on anything, that's a place and this is a time to do it when I'm sort of watching that the most at the moment. And then going forward, if you want to stay in this sort of setup where we're talking about these kind of things, we're working with the authority and partnership on the ground and doing these foundational type partnership-based exercises. I want to invite you to come into the Partnership Reboot program. I'm just going to do like a 4-week set over February, starting from the 1st of February, where we'll do weekly calls again here on the Wednesday night, same time. And between calls, I have like a small video library of some of my most like key exercises. A lot of them are around that authority piece that we did in the first call in exercise number 1. But it's taking it not just from in the paddock, but also in your other ground handling and as you start to do your groundwork and stuff, how to build that authority piece into everything that you're doing so that then you're obviously taking it into your riding. And it helps a lot with addressing separation anxiety and other things like that as well. So that's a 4-week container. As I said, you've got your weekly calls, you've got your video to jump into, and it's at the moment it's just $50 for those 4 weeks if you want to continue and sort of stay in this type of coaching and mentorship for a bit longer and get some more benefits from that. The other option you have is I also do a 6-week program covering much the same exercises where I'm coming to you and working with you one-on-one with your horse every week for 6 weeks. And yeah, so that's much more suited for people who want my hands-on help, or maybe who don't have a lot of confidence around their horses, or if you want accountability to like be there every week and make progress every week, and that's set in your calendar. That's a really good option for you as well. If you're in the Mackay area, that one is $1,950 this year. So that's 6 weeks, and you've got my help, across those weeks. You've also got the access to the online stuff. So you've got that as well. And it's a bit more of a mentorship container for you as well to be able to get in touch with me outside of those calls. That one has really helped a lot of people to step up that next level with their horses, and then move on to getting out with their horses and just settling a lot of behavioral issues that they have. And then the third option is if you like my approach to things and you are thinking about working with me long term, I have a year-long mentorship program where it is more like mentorship based. We're talking more about your long-term goals, what you want to achieve, how you want to approach things with your horses, The people who are in that program also work with other clinicians and trainers. So it's not like I'm dictating what you can and can't do. I'm very much supporting you in your goals, and so that you can achieve them in a way that really is satisfying for you. And my job as your mentor is to make sure that as you're doing all the things that you want to do and you have your own personal growth and things that you're pursuing with your horse, I'm looking at it through the lens of building your partnership, keeping your partnership on track. And a lot of my skill lies in being able to read your horse and understand what they need from you, and also understand how you need to show up to them to be able to achieve your goals. So I can really help you tie that all in together if you want longer term support that's going to help you achieve your goals. So those are the ways to work with me going forward if you want to continue this style of work. Of course, the Facebook group is still going to be open. Everything's in there from this challenge. And through the year, there may be some more other short webinars or things coming up through there as well. So that's a really good space just to stay connected to myself and other people who are on the same wavelength. We've got a really nice group in there. So that's what we have going forward. Are there any questions from anyone on anything we've covered so far in the challenge, outside of the challenge, working with me, those other options? Yeah, just put your hand up if you have any questions. You're all good. Awesome. Okay. So I'll leave you with that for tonight. I'm going to drop some information on those other ways to work with me as well. That will go in the Facebook, so you'll have a reference there. If you have any questions, just get in touch with me. But otherwise, enjoy working through the latest exercises, and yeah, you'll see the next video drop in the chat. Sorry, in the Facebook group in the next couple of days, and that will be in there before we round up. But thank you for being here. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the Facebook group. Good night.